Welcome back to yet another episode of the Between the Ashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. As always, joined by Brock Bierman, Braden Benkin, and myself, Dawson Livingston. Recapping the NFL draft. We've been off for almost 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks on Thursday was our last episode. Obviously, not much to talk about since the draft is in the books. And pretty much all the offseason moves are set in stone at this point, but figured we hop on, react to some of our favorite picks in the draft. But as always, we ask the fellas every episode how they're doing. Fellas, how we doing?
You know, I was thinking about this, but like as we were hopping on, you always ask us, "Hey, how are we doing?" I realize I never ask you how you're doing, so I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking, as always, Dawson. How have you been these past 2 weeks?
You know, I appreciate that. Outside of the game tonight, which we'll talk about, me, Brock, and Hunter on the hardwood combos, I was doing pretty well. I like what the Chiefs did in the draft. My Royals are finally starting to win games, which, hey, that's a plus. And the Cavs didn't lose to the Raptors in round one, so that, hey, we're doing okay. But I appreciate that.
It must be nice to get to watch your team be good, NFL wise. Well, NFL and NBA, your team making the playoffs.
I'm
and
just
also
setting
making good
myself up
draft
for
picks.
fail. I'm just setting myself up for failure when the inevitable 12 turnover Game 5 James Harden eliminates the Cavs this season. But
I don't know what you're
cross that
talking
bridge when
about.
we
That's
get there.
never happened.
Never. That's big game James right there. But Brock, how are we doing?
It's been an interesting couple weeks. Some lows of the NBA basketball season for me as a fan, per se, like kind of ending with the Celtics dropping the ball against the 76ers. The thing I will say about that, which I mean, I'll go into more detail in that other podcast, the Hardwood Combos podcast. But Dawson knows I was pretty much hoping for a top 5 pick this season, and we ended up being a 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So I guess I can't complain too much about everything that may have happened this season, even though it did end with a 3-1 blown lead in the first round. But really be like that sometimes. Outside of that, I've been able to just kind of relax more because sports is kind of slow for me right now. I'm not a big baseball fan. I mean, there's a team I watch. It's the Dodgers, just because of friends and connections from baseball. Yeah, like sports right now is so slow that I went and watched a movie in the theater this past weekend, which I mean, I was going to go see anyways. I went and saw Michael, which not a lot of basketball for my goat. I was kind of confused why there was apparently there's this pop star that was named Michael as well.
I heard there was an MJ movie, but I
Yeah.
didn't see no Bulls on the screen.
I didn't see no dunk. I didn't see no three-peat. I didn't see no guy trying to play baseball. But no, it was a really good movie. If you haven't seen it and you like music and you like biopics, go and see it. But yeah, more of a relaxing kind of couple weeks outside of the the sadness of the Celtics season coming to an end. But I'll give your Cavs a shout out though for an amazing series with the Raptors. I unfortunately, within the span of 24 hours, lost my favorite team and then lost my favorite player in the NBA in the playoffs, with Scotty Barnes being sent home. But yeah, it's been a good time. Been a good couple weeks.
If that shot that RJ Barrett made in Game 6, if that was the reason the Cavs season was going to end, oh my God. The computer would have been chucked out the window. Monitor would have been gone. Xbox wasn't safe either. Like, oh my God. What's funny is, this will be the last thing I touch on before we get into NBA content. I was at work during Game 6, and I was doing something, so I had the radio version of the game and the Cavs radio.
Oof.
And it was just, and Barrett shoots it, back rim, it's in. That's all it was. It was just like 1 second of like happiness, like, oh, you missed it, and then it was just like, it's in. Raptors lead by 2. I'm like, are you?
I love like when the radio calls from like the team's perspective, especially the losing side, because you can truly feel the emotion and the feeling that they have. If you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch Duke's radio broadcast from the tournament this year when they blew it against UConn. The radio guy, I'm 99% sure he knew it was over after the ball was turned over. And there was still another like 4 or 5 seconds, I think, between that and the shot. But he knew when it was stolen. He's like, oh, we're losing this game. You could just tell by the tone in his voice. And so Dawson, I feel you on that. That's
the
Go ahead.
The best one ever is the Paul Allen against the Saints when Brett Favre throws that pick across the middle. And then he just say, what does he say? This isn't
Detroit. This is something for the Super Bowl or like something like that.
Yeah.
This isn't Detroit. This is the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys got that reference.
Cat was going
Paul Allen is probably
you guys could figure it out. I had to tame the beast.
Yes.
Paul Allen is probably the GOAT in terms of like those losing end of plays calls.
I don't disagree. We're going to talk about just some of our favorite drafts. We're going to react to our own team's drafts, what we liked, what we didn't like. First, I'm going to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on your own team's draft? So, Braden, what do you think the Niners did? And then, Brock, what about you? What do you like about the Cardinals draft, and maybe what are you not so happy?
I'm going to set the cat down because I might get violent.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna stroll over. We're gonna do this pick by pick. I don't even know how to start this without Brock gets the sensors ready. I can't guarantee I'm gonna be PG here.
Okay.
So we were at pick 27, right? We were right there. We had plenty of options available. We said no, our guy isn't there. We trade back. We probably wanted Casey's Concepcion. He was taken at 24. Fair enough. Trade back, got value. See what the options are at 30. I guess we didn't like what the options were at 30, so we trade back to 33. Okay. We're getting picks later on. You know, we didn't have a lot of draft picks this year because we traded them all away or whatever. So makes sense. And then we get to Friday. I'm at the gym. I leave the gym. I open ESPN. And tell me why I see just kind of faster Jawan Jennings is the pick at 33. With, like, Denzel Boston, like, a lot of other better receivers, at least in my opinion, still on the board. Say what you will about his blocking, my brother in Christ, if we are talking about a wide receiver's blocking skills as his reason to be happy about him, that's not the pick at 33. And he's, 24? How old is this man, Dejon Stribling? I think he's either 23 or 24 years old. The guy's as old as I am. And that was the first pick we had. So that already pissed me off. And then later on, round 3, Romello Height. That's not a bad pick. Again, he's about 24 years old, but fits what we needed pretty well. Micah Williams is more of a run stopper. Nick Bosa does kind of whatever. We needed somebody to be a DPR. Romello Height is that. What on earth is Kalen Black at 90 doing? 2 running backs have been off the board at that point. It was Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price in the first round. Kalen Black was RB3. Are we serious? And again, Kalen Black was not RB3 because of his ability to run the ball, which isn't bad. It's because he blocks. Why are we drafting blocking skill positions with these premium picks? Granted, that is an easy way to get on the field, but you're not making, like, I don't know. I really don't know. Grayson Holton's not a terrible pick. Carvin Willis, I guess, is going to just start on the offensive line year 1 because we don't have anybody to play at left guard right now. Because we traded away every pick to get a good one and just kind of putted it down. Genuinely, the best pick that I'm looking at right now is Ephesians Prysock in the 4th round with a compensatory pick. That's genuinely not a bad pick. Jaden Duggar, I think, had a UDFA tag on him, and he went in the 5th round. Enrique Cruz, I guess, is like an athlete guy. I haven't really heard much about him. But overall, that quote that came out from John Lynch before the draft talking about if you're not using AI, you're already behind the 8 ball. Whatever version of ChatGPT you got going in your draft room, you got to make sure you hit the update button because you are off. That must be the same one that had you draft Ricky Pearsall, a 3rd-round graded receiver at pick 29. Because what are we talking about right now? Why are we doing this? John Lynch, tell you what, man, the guy could get a gem for a bag of chips in a trade. Guy cannot draft to save his life. You look at since like 2022, 2021, it's Brock Purdy and nothing. Straight up nothing. Dom Pony's had some moments. We can't draft. The fact that we are still competitive is that is a miracle. Frankly, a miracle. And somehow we have cap space. I don't know how, because we're not hitting on our draft picks, and all of our good players are through trades. I really don't. I don't get how we are still decent. I'll take it, but if we want to get to that upper echelon, we got to start drafting players that aren't 24 and blocking specialists at skill positions. This is. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Well thought out. I really enjoyed
I've had some time to stew on this.
That was gonna say that was
I
enjoyable.
feel bad because mine's not gonna be that in depth because there's really only one player I'm upset with. Not really upset with, but just kind of with. But yeah,
but it's funny.
Yeah, it is the LOL.
Brock, what'd you think about the Cardinals draft?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't really get enough time to like react live when Jeremiah Love was taken 3rd overall because that's when the tornado warnings and all that were going on during our live stream. Which, what a live stream! I've went back and listened to a couple of things. The Ty Simpson pick one is the one that gets me the best. The reactions, it's just awesome. But yeah, I was really excited about that pick, and I knew that meant that they were probably going to beef up the offensive line a little bit, which they did with Basantis in the 2nd round. Then they followed it up with a move that, I mean, I'm not necessarily questioning it. It's just kind of funny because it's like, out of all the quarterbacks in the world, it had to be Carson Beck. And they make that move, and I mean, it doesn't even sound like he might have a chance to compete for QB1, but I really don't know what the whole situation is for Arizona's quarterback room. Brissett's still like holding out. It seems like there's rumors of other players potentially joining the room at some point. We don't know if that's going to actually happen. But yeah, the whole quarterback room in Arizona is messy. So, I mean, hey, if he gets a chance, I guess if there was ever a chance for a 3rd-round pick, like reach of Carson Beck to work out, it would be in Arizona because like that's the best place for him to probably get in at this point because many of the teams that needed quarterbacks already picked one by then. After that, you get a defensive tackle and Caleb Proctor, no relation to Caden Proctor. I looked up. I was like thrown off at first to the point where I had to look up just to confirm. And if he is related to him, then no one. I couldn't find anything that said that he was. But that helps, especially with the Calais Campbell news. Basically, it doesn't seem like I think he announced his retirement this week or something.
I think he's signed with the Ravens.
Ravens, okay.
Yeah.
Because I have been so out of it in terms of social media this past week, and my phone for some reason decided not to give me any Cardinals notifications that I had to adjust. So
your phone was doing you a favor.
Your phone knew that you were going through enough as a Celtics fan that you didn't need to be reminded you are also a Cardinals fan.
That's a good point. But I mean, it helps. I guess Proctor will help with that room in terms of like bringing some youth in. And probably will have a good chance to maybe contribute. I think a lot of these guys will probably have a chance to contribute year one, just because Arizona is such an up in the air organization with a lot of the positions that they picked. Reggie Virgil, wide receiver from Texas Tech. I'll always take a chance on a Texas Tech wide receiver. Whether it works out, we'll see. And then, how do you pronounce Carson's last name, Dawson?
Shirar, I think is how you say it. I'm gonna pull it up for sure.
Okay.
I feel like it's Shirar, but
Okay, that seems right. I didn't want to go like overly. I didn't want to butcher it completely. I saw some highlights of him. Obviously, I watched him at Iowa as well, but I like the pick there. He can make some. Yeah, he can make some big plays, and that's what the Cardinals' defense I feel like was missing. They kind of went with the bend don't break look last year, and I think that's kind of what they had to do anyways, and it actually cost them a lot of games because they bet a lot in some of those close games that they had earlier in the season. I mean, I think Green Bay had like a 4th and 1 that they were able, or like a 4th and 2 or something like that, where they were able to get an easy QB sneak, like nothing against Arizona. The defense, if you can get some athletic guys that can make some big plays, or at least bring some pressure, so you don't have to do that. Well, we'll give you 30 yards as long as we don't give up a touchdown. We'll win, or we'll call it a success. And then Jaden Williams from Ole Miss at offensive tackle is great as well, boosting up that offensive line. But I liked what Arizona did. It wasn't necessarily an A+ like home run of a draft, but there's no complaints from me really outside of maybe like, I don't know, the questioning of like, did you need to use your 3rd rounder to get Carson back? I don't know.
I feel like after like the 2nd round though, the hit rate is like so low that you might as well just take a chance on someone like that.
And I will say I would rather them take a chance on someone that is in the older side of things in terms of age for the quarterbacks that were in this draft pool. I mean, heck, what is he gonna? Is he like? He's got to be like 25, right? Oh, he's only 23. He seems like he's been in college for like 10 years already. But so he's 23, but like he's on the older side of things, and so maybe that gives them more confidence to give him the keys if he needs to this season and see if it works out. Because if it works out, like, you never know. I mean, no one thought Brock Purdy was going to get a chance to start year 1, let alone beat the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. So, and this is not... full disclosure, I'm not comparing Carson Beck to Brock Purdy by any means, but
no, because you were comparing him to Tom Brady is what it sounds like.
No, Brock Purdy is Tom Brady.
All right.
What did you think about your Chiefs? I thought they did really well.
I like it. They went outside of like the kind of players they draft. Didn't think they would go corner with their first pick. That was certainly surprised. Didn't think they would trade up for a corner. But I love the Peter Woods pick. They need help on the D-line. The R. Mason Thomas pick, they don't go for speed rushers unless they're... The Chiefs have drafted guys that are like 280 pounds to play D-line, and they're just not fast, and they don't get after the quarterback. So this is a nice change of pace. Some guy that could just get after the quarterback. Honestly, my favorite pick, and I hate to say this because he played for an Iowa arch rival, one of my favorite picks is Emmett Johnson, because I think him and Kenneth Walker are going to form a pretty nasty 1-2 punch. Because Emmett Johnson was a really good player for Nebraska. He torched Iowa for like an 80-yard touchdown run in the last game. He's not the fastest guy, but I think in Andy Reid's presser, he compared him to like LaShawn McCoy, which if he's LaShawn McCoy, I mean, Chiefs win the Super Bowl next year. But no, I really like the pick of Emmett Johnson. The one that was just funny was them taking a quarterback. Everyone was so up in arms about, oh, why are you using the 7th rounder on a quarterback?
I thought it was a great pick.
I thought so too. How many 7th rounders actually make the team after 2 years? What's the hit rate on 7th rounders making the team? That's what I want to know. Why not? Why not take a quarterback? Why not let some other? You're preventing a team from signing him as a UDFA, which he probably would have been a pretty valuable UDFA by a team. And best case scenario, if Fields doesn't work out as your backup, Nussmeier could come in and be the backup for the next 3 years, 4 years. Sorry. So
I was just gonna say the same exact thing. Like, are Chiefs fans 100% sure that I again don't know how long Mahomes is gonna be out. They make it sound like his recovery has been unbelievable. Dawson, do you know if he's planning on starting in the first couple weeks at all?
he's gonna be ready for OTAs, is what they say, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'm still skeptic. And the last thing, I hate rushing players back from injury, and I hate having players play on injuries, because then you're just caught. Your increased risk for a re-injury is super high. It's part of one of the reasons, we'll get to it in the Hardwood Combo show. I was a big fan of the Celtics not playing Tatum, because if he would have had something happen to that other Achilles, that's career altering. Maybe not career ending, but that's career altering if you have 2 Achilles injuries in back-to-back years.
I think I literally would have cried if that would have happened.
Exactly. If you're a Celtics fan, you're like, whatever.
I was happy
we
that
weren't
he
supposed to be
didn't play.
good. Let's just move on to next year. The last thing you want to do is try to win a game against Philly, and then something bad happens. It's just like, it's a lose-lose.
And I think this Chiefs team, without Mahomes right now, the way it's structured, like with a decent quarterback that can manage his way through some games. Again, we don't know the entire structure of the schedule yet, but if it's favorable, like, you can go a month maybe if needed, and rely on, it seems like right now would be Justin Fields, but it's Justin Fields, and I think a great backup option to him would be Nussmeier. Like, I think he's a great choice, and I know, like, you can't say there's a home run pick in the 7th round, but like that couldn't have been a better pick really for Kansas City, in my opinion. Because Justin Fields can make some plays, but like we've seen every team he's been on, he's been unreliable. And the last thing Kansas City needs, with this idea that we don't necessarily know when Mahomes is going to be back, is for Justin Fields to be the only option at quarterback.
Well, they've had a revolving door at backup quarterback since, like, Chad Henne. It's been like Blaine Gabbert was there for a year, and then Carson Wentz was there for a year. Last year was Gardner Minshew and Chris Oladukin. One of the other years was, oh man, why am I forgetting his name? Now I'm gonna be mad at myself. No, I said Blaine Gabbert already. They just haven't had consistency at that backup position. So, again, how many teams are just whiff on 7th rounders all the time? Like, it's probably a 5% hit rate for a 7th rounder to actually be meaningful. If he doesn't work out, it's a 7th round pick. It's not like they spent
darts
it's not like what the Rams did and took Simpson at 13. And it's like, if Simpson doesn't work out, that's a franchise altering move. Like, that sets your franchise back years and years and years. Because the Rams could have taken literally anyone. Mekhi Lemon was on the board. Ruben Bain was on the board. Heck, they love drafting tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq was still on the board. Like, they could have went anywhere. Could have drafted another corner for all I care. But if they whiff on this, I guess we'll just stay on this topic. What were your guys' thoughts on the Ty Simpson pick? We obviously had our live reaction, and it's out there for everyone to see. But what were your guys' thoughts on Simpson being picked by the Rams at 13?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the rationale, or it's like, Matt Stafford is 38 years old. You need to have somebody in there to be the heir apparent, and you're not going to have a high draft pick next year to get, like, your Arch Manning if he declares, your Dante Moores, your Lenore Sellers if he ends up going. Like, you're not going to really be in position for those guys. So you're at 13. Do you think if Ty Simpson were to have gone back to school and ended up declaring in the 2027 NFL draft class, where would he have probably ranked as far as QBs go? Like, he probably would have been around, I don't know, the 13th, 15th pick. So how crazy is it to, I mean, you're in this position. You're not going to be in this position again. You basically got this pick, I won't say for free, but this wasn't your pick. Why not take a flyer on a quarterback to be your QB of the future if you believe that Ty Simpson's going to be your guy? I understand that, but at the same time, you were a special teams play away from being in the Super Bowl, and let's be frank, they were going to win that Super Bowl. This is not the time to be hedging your bets for the future. This is your time. This is the Rams we're talking about. These guys do not care about draft picks. These guys, this is your time to be like, all right, give me another weapon for Stafford to go to. He already had an MVP season. Why not give him Mekhi Lemon to throw to instead of Jordan Winningham? Like, why not give me another like offensive lineman or something to protect Matthew Stafford? He's 38. Would rather not him get hit. Like, it feels like you could have taken a lot more impact player, at least for this year, with this pick. And I feel like they probably should have done that. But it's not like they it's not like they picked Anthony Bennett first overall here. Like, it could have been, this isn't the most insane pick of all time. Of this draft, maybe, but of all time, no.
I just don't know if McVay wanted him. Like, he does not. He's not.
It did seem like that
all.
was more of a less need pick, but I mean, I understand where he's coming from, at least.
Dawson, your mic's either muted or off.
Yeah,
there you go.
It was muted. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I'm going to be honest, because McVay is the most powerful person in that organization. McVay has hinted at the possibility of retiring early. He's hinted at the possibility of going into broadcasting. Why would you want to then immediately not only upset Stafford, but McVay as well? This had to have been like in the works for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I know there was a quote saying the Rams don't do like top 30 visits because they don't want teams to figure out who they're interested in. So they go to like on-campus visits. But I don't know. This maybe we'll look back in 5 years and if Stafford's gone out of the league and Simpson's basically 85% of what Stafford was, then we'll be like, maybe, man, the Rams were geniuses. They got out at the right time. They sold high on Stafford. Maybe not sold high on Stafford, but realized he was at his apex and was getting ready to either retire 1 year later or potentially, I know he's in a contract dispute, so maybe this is leverage for the Rams side of things. It's like, hey, we don't need you. I doubt that that's the case, but NFL teams are weird. You never know really where they're going to lean, but that was certainly the most confusing pick of the draft. Honestly, the guy went one pick before Simpson, but if they would have taken Caden Proctor, yeah, it would have been funny, but it wouldn't have been as bad of a pick as Simpson. I think
part of me wonders if that was their original plan.
I don't know. I will say, have you guys seen, like, ESPN has released their like little snippets of like inside the draft rooms? Have you guys seen any of those posted online?
I saw the Ty Simpson one. It looked like a funeral home.
Yeah, that
in there.
It just, again, usually when teams draft a player, they're all like fist bumping, high fiving. They're all like, "We did it." The draft process is a long one. It's 4 months long for a lot of teams, and we finally nailed our first round pick. Hopefully, is what they're thinking. For them to just be like, "God, did we really just do this?" It's like, what the hell are we doing?
I need to see Pittsburgh's room when they found out that Mekhi Lemon was not going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right after they called him to let him know that he was going to Pittsburgh, and then immediately after that, they hear that they're going to his to a city that's in the same state.
Yeah, I just need to see the look on that guy's face, whoever was on the phone with him at the time, when Mekhi Lemon said, "Why is Philly calling me right now?"
Oh my gosh,
I just need to
that
see
would
that.
be priceless.
We can imagine this though. Lemon's getting that call from Pittsburgh. It's like, yes, I'm a first round pick, but
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
it's like, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I mean, it's going to be me and DK. I mean, that'd be cool, but it's like, I don't know.
I
Then
think
immediately to go to Philly and be like, oh, Jalen Hurts. Oh, Devontae Smith. Oh, Saquon Barkley. That's really cool.
I think Philly did an amazing job this draft, and it's all is headlined by that Mekhi Lemon trade and draft. It was perfect, especially with everything just the headlines and the news about AJ Brown basically being on his way out. Sounds like he's going to be in New England at some point, and for them to just go, okay, well, here's a guy. That's funny that I said it like that. Here's a player who. Here's a guy who like could be one of the best prospects in this draft class, just sitting here at 20. And we need a replacement for that same exact position that he plays. Why not take it?
Yeah. That kind of leads me into our next topic point. Who are your NFL draft winners? Brock, you kind of touched on it, that Philly, you think they really nailed that Mekhi Lemon pick, but who do you guys, like, maybe not winners per se, but who was your favorite draft outside of, like, I don't know if you think your own team's favorite draft was your favorite, but your favorite draft overall?
I had one pulled up. The Browns come to mind. Drafting Taylor Green is an interesting choice, but otherwise, I mean, like Spencer Fano is going to be an instant starter. Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I didn't even talk about him going over my Niners rant. Literally, I was watching this pick with Dawson. Literally, I saw the ticker go, 49ers have traded this pick to the Browns. I was like, oh, here goes Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Yup, he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be a stud. Parker Brailsford was, started at Bama for a while. He's going to be good. Justin Jefferson is an interesting prospect from what I've heard.
Do you think that they could find a way to work Taylor Green elsewhere outside of the quarterback position?
They could. I could definitely see that. I don't know if I trust the Browns to be the ones to develop an entire skill set.
That's a good point.
Just to be frank.
I don't know, man. Terrell Pryor.
That's
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. It's possible, I guess.
I agree, though. The Browns had an amazing draft. The fact that we're talking about the Browns doing something not just good, but like potentially amazing right now is kind of crazy. And you know what? This draft as well actually gives me more like hope in terms of like Sanders maybe being a good quarterback for the Browns in the future. Again, it's still the Browns. It's still the Browns, but like they really did build this draft around him.
It sounds like he's not even going to be the starter next year.
I was going to say,
like
am I allowed to have to take that?
Old Deshaun.
Yeah, Deshaun's going to...
That won't last. Trust me. It won't last. It won't last.
I hope you're right. Braden, what about you? Who's drafted you? Or no, Brock. Who do you like? I don't know why I said Braden. Sorry.
I
mentioned Philly.
have more I could give you, but
Yeah, no, you mentioned Philly, but would that still be your answer?
Well, there's really kind of a list of teams that I thought like had some good picks. Another team that we like to clown on, or at least the league loves to clown on, the New York Jets. I felt like did a good job with their picks, being able to get Bailey, and with the second pick. I mean, that's basically the second first pick. Really, because Mendoza was obviously going to the Raiders, and then able to get Sadiq from Oregon at tight end, and then potentially one of the better clutch receivers from Indiana and Omar Cooper Jr. I think they did a really good job in building potentially a future around this team that basically cleared house with a lot of the picks from that one draft that everybody was talking about with Sauce Gardner and all of those guys. Breece Hall's going to get an extension, it sounds like, unless something has changed that I haven't seen. And they did draft a quarterback, which, you know what? Who knows what their quarterback situation is going to look like this year? Maybe Klubnik might actually get a shot. I don't really know. But I like them. And then another team, just for the fact that they literally realized that they needed everything on the defensive side of the ball. The Dallas Cowboys just loaded up on draft picks on the defensive side of the ball. And you couldn't have asked for a better list of guys to draft. Caleb Downs from Ohio State will be great for them. Malachi Lawrence from UCF, saw a bunch of plays from him in his days as a Golden Knight. And then you got, they ended up drafting three more guys on the defensive side of the ball. They did draft 3 edge rushers, which I mean, doesn't hurt with their current situation on the defensive side of the ball. They also got Shelton from Penn State on the offensive line, which, I mean, they need nothing wrong with adding to that offensive line. That probably needs a little bit of help. But no, the Dallas Cowboys and the Jets would be the other 2 teams I would add to the list of teams that I think did a really good job in the draft this year.
Yeah, I think my favorite draft would be the Giants. I mean, Arvell Reese at 5, who many thought was the best player in the draft. And then even getting Maui Noah, who a lot of people consider the best tackle in the draft. I know Fano went before him, but I think Maui Noah's got more versatility and kind of fits that Giants offense better. And then even able to get like Colton Hood later on in the second round, and then Malachi Fields, who could be maybe not a day one starter at receiver, but maybe a contributor in year 1. The sneaky one, team that I thought had a really good draft, I like New Orleans draft. Tyson is he's the wild card of the draft, because if he's healthy, he has, in my opinion, the ceiling to be a top 5 receiver in the NFL. His traits translate so well to the NFL. It's just a matter of if he can stay healthy. I like the defensive tackle Christian Miller out of Georgia. I think that fills the need for them. Their D-line had a lot of turnover this offseason, so they just need consistency, and I think Miller could bring that for them. They drafted the Georgia tight end as well, Oscar Delp, who could provide Tyler Shuck a weapon. They've kind of revitalized that offense with Shuck. They brought in ETN from Jacksonville in the offseason. They have Chris Olave, who, again, is another receiver with health concerns. But now adding Tyson and obviously adding Delp could make that offense interesting. The fun pick that they had, though, is Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's brother, who is just an absolute physical freak. He's 6'3", 6'4", ran a super fast 40, has go up and get it traits. Maybe not the best route runner, but certainly a fun player that the Saints could incorporate in their offense. But I would still say the Giants are my favorite, but I think a sneaky one that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, I think the Saints really nailed their picks. But all right, did we talk about drafts we hated? I think we did. No, we didn't.
I don't think so. No.
Well, I mean, Braden kind of did.
Yeah.
I sort of.
Yeah. Outside of your Niners, Braden, give me a draft that you just did not see the vision.
I'm going to be kind of boring with this. I'm going to go with I think, the consensus. Jacksonville. What were we smoking? Nate Borkerkirk, is that how you say that? I don't know. The A&M tight end had 400 career yards. I get it. He's more of a blocker. You don't draft a blocking tight end with in mid-second round. And not only that, they doubled down. They drafted another blocking tight end in the 5th. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know every prospect, right? I feel like I know a decent amount. Before Friday, when most of these picks were taken, Friday, Saturday, the only guy on this list I could genuinely tell you I knew his name was Emmanuel Pregnon. That's it. Pregnon's going to be solid. Half of these guys, their last 3 picks don't even have ESPN rankings on them. We were just going over, they have picks. We were going over the 2019, scouting rankings just to kind of pass the time. They have, 370 rankings. They have 370 prospects ranked at any given time. They didn't crack the top 370. I remind you, there are 250 picks,
Sounds right.
roughly, in a draft? They weren't in the top 370 something. And that you spent 3 draft picks on them. What? Man, what are we doing there? Otherwise, I mean, we spent a ton of time talking about how the Ty Simpson pick is kind of questionable. What were the Rams doing the rest of the draft also? Max Clare, again, maybe not the worst prospect, but you already have 3 tight ends on your team. You drafted a tight end 4 in the second round. And I don't know who the other guys are on this board. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know. So I'd say the Rams and Jags. I guess kind of consensus, boring answer, but it's consensus because it's true. It's not. Well, I can't say true because we don't know how these guys' careers are gonna pan out. But as it stands, May 5th, 2026, Cinco de Mayo. I don't love these. I do not love them.
Brock, what about you?
One of the teams that I wanted to mention, and granted they didn't have a first round pick, so I guess that can be a little bit of a crutch for why this might not be worth mentioning. But I didn't really like what the Falcons were doing, draft wise. One of the things that I find interesting is their quarterback situation is going to be must watch for me in terms of week to week who's going to potentially be starting, because Penix is still coming off of that ACL injury. Tua's on their roster, which I forgot about. So I felt like they needed to boost up that offensive line, and granted, it's the second round. I think their first pick was the 48th pick. So I can't remember how much was left in terms of value of the offensive line, but they didn't take a single offensive lineman until the 7th round. So that was one thing that I was a little bit concerned, because I feel like they needed to do something to prep for this year because their quarterbacks are going to be running for their lives again. And last thing we need to be watching right now is another season of potentially Tua for I don't know how many games getting beat up while Michael Penix gets ready to come back from an ACL injury.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Atlanta, obviously, with no first round pick, they don't really have a whole lot of draft leverage / capital. But yeah, I didn't really see the vision with them either. My answer, man, maybe Buffalo. I don't like that they traded out of the first round. And TJ Parker's a good player. Just think they're switching defensive concepts this year, and he's more of like a 3-4. He's like a 4-3 D end, and they're running a 3-4 now, so it's kind of a weird fit. And the corner they took from Ohio State, Davison Igbinosun. Did I nail that pronunciation, Braden?
It's close enough. I couldn't tell you what it is with any
He,
confidence.
he has a huge red flag of literally getting flags on the field. I think he was one of the most penalized players in college football last year. He's the college football version of what Jawan Taylor was for the Chiefs. So if that gives you any indication on that. And then the only great pick I think they had was the receiver out of UConn, Skylar Bell. I mean, they took him in the 4th round. But he's basically just Khalil Shakir 2.0. They don't really have any more variety of receivers. They already hate Keon Coleman. So that's a known fact. And you're kind of just drafting another Khalil Shakir, which might work, might not work. But I don't really see the vision that Buffalo had in this draft. But fellas, do you have anything else to add before we wrap up this quick episode?
Not really. Mother's Day is coming up, so make sure you give your mother some love. Any mothers that happen to be watching, we appreciate what y'all do. But that's about it.
Well said.
Yes, sir.
Brock, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
Nope.
All right. Well, Another fantastic episode of the Between the Hashes podcast. Be sure at some point this week, Hardwood Combos will be out, so you'll be able to hear my thoughts, Brock's thoughts, and Hunter's thoughts on the NBA playoffs. Because, oh boy, the first round was pure cinema. If you were just a casual fan,
I would argue probably the best first round we've seen in a hot minute. And there's been some good first rounds in the last couple of years, but this one, like, whew, there was a chance that the Eastern Conference could have had all Game 7s. And if that would have happened...
right.
Oh.
No, so be sure to listen to not only this episode, if you made it this far, but listen to the other episode. Again, you'll hear some great takes. Brock will have to listen to his suffering from the Boston Celtics season ending. I'm sure. Have we discussed the Bucks officially hiring Taylor Jenkins? Was that on the last? So we'll get Hunter's thoughts on that. So that'd be really fun. But for Braden Bank and Brock Bierman and myself, Dawson Livingston, we are signing off here on the 5 on 5 Podcast Network.